old days, in the 1950s, 60s, TV was very specific. There were a group of actors that could do it, but most actors, because they were theatre-based, they just couldn't hack the idea of a camera and a studio. So what happened was these little groups of actors, you know, they became the sort of repertory company of the BBC. And you'd see them, as Fraser said, you'd see them appearing in, you know, Robin Hood, maybe twice as a different character in the same episode. You know, it was that Pally.
He played Robin Hood once, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He did,
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, very long time ago that was. That was live.
Was that a series or just a one-off?
It was 6 episodes, and it was a black and white. I think it was at Lime Grove, and it was literally live. It was broadcast live.
That's a mini-series. Yeah. But the thing about it was so incredible that he could play so many different, shall we call them textures or moods. I mean, he was really chillingly frightening as Norfolk in Elizabeth R. and the 6 Wives of Henry VIII. Really good.
And of course he got that immediately after Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And what was interesting was, the first thing he said to me, just before he finished, he said, "I'm never going to work again. I've been typecast. I'll never work again." The next day, somebody phones up, his agent phones up and says, "Oh, they want you to play the Duke of Norfolk in you know, that wonderful series." And he never looked back after that. But he had this terrible, I don't know why he had this terrible idea that because he was, you know, he was a well-known face on television, that he was going to be typecast, because he was so well established before he did it that everybody knew he was. Well, they didn't know his name perhaps, but they knew the face, you know. Yeah. And you know, this idea that he was never going to work again to Doctor Who was nonsense. But he was the only one believing it, you know. Weird.
Because he always says he was making a film called The Viking Queen when they rang up about, you know, to do Doctor Who.
Yeah, The Viking Queen.
And he said that he wasn't playing the leading role. he always said that, and I wasn't playing the leading role.
I'm a bit nervous how to phrase what I'm about to say, because being a bluff northerner from Yorkshire, I don't like to come across as being too gushy. But basically, he is one of my favourites in the role, partially because I think from what you were saying just now, part of the problem is that very often people who are genuinely and truly talented just can't really see it in themselves. But I've obviously been very interested in film and television, drama, comedy, whatever, all my life, and I'm in my mid-60s now, and it strikes me that there's a whole range of actors, and there are a lot of people, particularly these days, who really are pretty much playing the same role and maybe a slightly heightened version of themselves, or just themselves on the television. But your father could transmogrify himself into completely different and almost unrecognisable characters. I never saw it myself, but I understand his Quilp from Charles Dickens was absolutely legendary.
Yeah, I mean, I think the era, especially on television and film perhaps, the era of the character actor playing very different types of people has sort of slipped away, because casting directors tend to go for type now. They don't, you know, they look and they go, "Oh, he looks like a fisherman, he could do this role." You know, they don't consider well, I mean, it's a terrible generalisation, but they don't tend to consider the fact that a lot of actors are really skillful at being able to portray different characters.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, really, because it's fun to see, and I think that's what's missing now. It's fun to see certain actors, you know, one day playing a leading role in something, and then the next playing a bearded old tramp. You know, that's the fun of it. I feel is sort of, you know, drifted away a bit.
It's the old thing. If you're going for an audition to play a soldier, wear a khaki shirt, because they can see you. Oh yes, he looks good in khaki. That's it.
It's so true. That's so true. And I've even gone to auditions where, because I've been playing the role of some